Wake Up Call with Benji Snead continues on 92.3 The Hub, the voice for freedom.
Good morning, Lubbock, West Texas. Thanks for joining us this morning, 6:50 a.m. You're listening to the Wake Up Call. 76 degrees outside right now. Looking for a high today of 98 degrees. Who would have thought 98 would be one of the cooler days of the week, Brennan? It was, 101 yesterday, 104 the day before. So ready for some cooler weather. And some Texas Tech football, perhaps, here coming up on September the 5th. We're now, 22 days away? We're counting down the days.
Tomorrow will mark 3 weeks, Benji.
All right.
Officially 3 weeks. Exactly.
You'll be there.
Weeks.
You'll have a full report Monday morning, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm going to have a full preview the week of the game. Are you kidding?
You got to live up to the new title I gave you as sports director.
I don't think that's... I don't think so.
Phone and text lines are open this morning, 806-771-0923. If you have a question or comment. If you don't right now, odds are you will by the end of this segment with our special guest in the studio this morning, Professor Kassandra McQuillen. I pronounced that right again?
Yes, you did.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. We were talking a little bit in the break. We like to trick people into coming in a little early so we get an extra segment out of them. So you're falling into that category. But we were talking in the break. We've been talking about you coming on and visiting with us for a couple of days now. And the way you explained it is exactly how I thought it came about. But walk us through how now you've ended up in this role where you're now teaching a curriculum and class at Texas Tech this coming fall on data centers. How was that the inception of that?
Well, I'm in the energy commerce department over at the Rawls, which is a great department if your kids are looking at the business school. 100% job placement.
Nice.
And highest paying degree out of the Rawls as an undergrad. So here's my plug. Sorry for the commercial break.
No, bring it.
Anyway, a lot of kids don't know about it. I teach over there. I generally teach about clean energy, sustainability, all the fun things that nobody cares about right now. And I have a special topics class that I have that's a directed elective for undergraduate students in any major. Mm-hmm. And I also teach B-law, business law over there. So I've been following the data center space for several years. If anyone who's in energy and electricity knows it was coming and it's big. And in 2025, Texas Tech kind of secretly signed a lease for 99 years with a new company called Fermi America.
Yeah, heard of it.
Where we leased out 6,000 acres up near Amarillo, adjacent to the Pantex site. Mm-hmm. To this private company to develop.
That's a federally operated Pantex.
Pantex, yeah, okay. The nuclear grade weapons stuff. In fact, Texas Tech acquired that land after World War II. They were making nuclear bombs there and nuclear weapons.
You're going to know something about everything I bring up, so I'm sorry for the distraction.
But it's kind of an interesting history,
Sure.
And we actually purchased that land for $1 as post-war surplus land.
Okay.
And we got it. Initially, the stated purpose was agricultural research and water conservation.
Right.
Of course, we just kicked off the cattle ranchers, and we're going to give them all the water. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of funny that now, at this time, we're doing that as Tech. But I kind of was watching that and saw that they leased that land, and then I did a FOIA request and got a copy of the ground lease because I like to read leases in my spare time.
Yeah, well, that can be a hobby.
And I thought this is really interesting, and this affects our students at Tech because this is our asset. This is a public asset, our land that's being used for what at the time was going to be the world's largest data center. There's 4 full-size Westinghouse P1000 nuclear reactors proposed at the site. There's a lot of natural gas generation proposed, and there's a small amount of solar proposed. So for me, that's right in my wheelhouse. How are we generating these electrons? What are we doing to this land that originally was ag land for our students? So I kind of just started looking into it, and then
owned by Texas Tech.
Owned by Texas Tech.
Right. Okay.
So I just proposed to the school, can I take my special topics off of, solar and batteries this semester And can we take a deep dive into data centers? Because we've got almost 1,000 proposed in Texas.
Well, yeah.
Every one of the students who are going to stay in Texas, this is going to touch their lives. They're going to work with a data center for some reason, no matter what realm of business they go into.
Right.
So why not teach our students what these are, how they're built, what it means for a community they come into, and whether the siting is smart, and whether who we're dealing with is a real entity.
Okay, and I want to talk. I'm going to dive into the curriculum part of it as well. But so this is the first of its kind. I think certainly a good use of time for students and a professor like you. But back to the Fermi thing. What's the term on the lease?
99 years.
Okay, want to get that out there.
Which is, by the way, the longest you can legally have a lease in the United States.
You said it. So, okay, very good. So you're teaching this class. What do you hope to accomplish there?
I just want these students to think. A lot of our students, it's a butts and seats venture out there.
Sure.
And I've seen it in my time briefly. I've only been here, I think, 7 years at Tech. I started in engineering, teaching.
2018.
Yeah, teaching engineers about project development and the business side of what they were building. And the Rolls told me a couple of years ago.
Okay.
They have nice things there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, well, it's a good school.
But I want to. The number one thing I think we're lacking in students out of the business school is learning about due diligence. So that's my focus.
All right. Are there is there a 1.0, 2.0, or is it just one straight class?
I've only got one class right now.
Okay.
But they've already asked me. It filled in the first week.
Because can you imagine? I mean, you could do this for freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors, all the way through.
I don't want freshmen. It's in my contract.
You're out, Brennan.
I'm a graduate.
Oh, that's right. More with Professor Kassandra McQuillen and data center curriculum at Texas Tech. Coming up after the break, 6:57 a.m. You're listening to the Wake Up Call. Happy Friday, everybody.
Wake Up Call with Benji Snead continues on 92.3 The Hub, the voice for freedom.
Good morning, Lubbock and West Texas. Hope you've poured yourself a cup of ambition this morning, as Dolly Parton is pointing out there. Welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, phone lines are open, text lines are open, 806-771-0923. Let us know what's on your mind. If you have a question or comment for our special guest in the studio this morning, Professor Kassandra McQuillen with Texas Tech, now teaching what we're learning is the at least the first ever at Tech course on data centers this fall. Have we started? When do classes start out there?
The 24th.
24th. Okay. And you'll start this new curriculum. How many students? Do you know how many students are signed up for your course?
I have 40. They just expanded it. The class, I offered it. I was supposed to self-advertise, and like I said, I teach business law, so I'm got a couple hundred students at my disposal.
Yeah.
So throughout the term, the way I teach business law is I pull cases that are happening contemporaneously. So, and because I love land use and energy stuff, I'm always talking about cases in that realm, which is huge here. So I just talked it up to my students. I said, I got a class for you. We've got money. We've got new companies. We've got land. We've got all kinds of scandal that, Fermi America is in the headlights of a couple SEC lawsuits from the shareholders. And I said, this is going to be our own little mini Enron we can look into. Interesting.
And so for those just joining us, we got into it a little bit last segment, but walk us through the curriculum and what someone would expect to learn after taking your course on data centers.
Well, what I'm going to do is take each of these students, which, by the way, there's still a wait list for the class. So they've already asked me if I'll teach it in the spring. That's how high the interest is. Yeah. So I'm going to have each student pick one of the almost 1,000 data centers in Texas that are proposed right now. It's going to have to be over a 50 megawatt project, so a large load.
That would be qualified as a hyperscale?
Well, I think hyperscale might be bigger than that, but as far as what I'm seeing in permitting across the nation and restrictions, 50 megawatts seems to be the breaking point where states and counties are starting to lock it down.
Pay attention, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to have them pick one. whether it's built or not built or proposed, whatever stage. And they're basically going to tell me everything about it through the semester. I'm going to teach them how to find out what the zoning is, what's going on in that county, what's the sentiment, what public meetings are going on, what are the local folks doing about it, what's going on there. Who is contracting for this? Who made this proposal? Is it someone who's out fishing and has 20 of these proposed in 20 different counties hoping to lock in? Are they a REIT, a real estate investment trust? Are they an enterprise? Are they a co-location, or are they hyperscale? Who are they? What does it mean for the community? What's going to be the water use? What's going to be the power use? Is there fiber to the site? I'm going to teach them how to develop a project and how to analyze it.
Interesting. Seems to me these are all questions these municipalities and county entities should be asking.
Yes, maybe they should get in my class.
I'd take it. I would take it. So, wow. Yeah. So you've got 40. How long do you expect you'll have a focus on this topic in terms of your teaching out there?
Well, I mean, I kind of switch. I'm lucky because I can teach special topics classes. So
I read that. That's kind of part of your role, is to keep up with stuff and make it topical.
Yeah, this class is under what's called contemporary topics in business, energy, or sustainability, or something like that.
Okay.
So it gives me freedom to talk about whether it's wind going on or solar or here data centers. But this is the most students I've ever had in the special topics class. And I literally get emails every day. Hey, the wait list still has 17 people and can't get a bigger classroom.
I can't think of a bigger subject unless you micro focus down on, say, water itself, because that's kind of encompassed in the concerns. But I can't think of a bigger subject than data centers out here. Do you think cities like Abilene jumped out a little too quick to accept these large-scale data centers?
Well, I think it's like everything that happens, right? You're a community that's maybe struggling or you want to grow. Someone comes in and flashes the money, but says, hey, I need an abatement, but I'll come in, I promise you the moon. And when we have so many counties in Texas with so little knowledge base in each county, right? So they get taken advantage of. We've seen it with oil and gas. We've seen it with wind. We've seen it with solar.
Right.
We see it with everything. And Abilene, I'm not sure what went on behind the scenes there, but I'm sure they were promised the moon and they didn't really think about things. So that's what I want to teach these students is when this comes in, just like any new project, whether it's a data center or a warehouse or anything that's coming in, how is it impacting everything?
Right.
How do we get through the process?
So I think the pros in terms of a political discussion, and I do want to concentrate mainly on your curriculum, but in terms of a political discussion, I think the pros are clear. It's all about the money, right? Are there other concerns out there in all of your research that other than water and electricity, you think folks aren't aware of?
Well, I mean, we have the e-waste problem, right? If we bring in a data center, it's got 80,000 GPUs in it, little computers that all have lithium-ion batteries in them and have e-waste that we're supposed to dispose of. Who's handling that? Are we recycling it? There's a big problem we haven't really addressed. The tax abatement situation, I read the lease for Fermi with tech, and we're absolutely going to get screwed on that for revenue because of the way it's phrased.
Okay.
So I think whenever people run in head first to something, they're going to overlook a lot.
Right.
And they're scared they're going to lose an opportunity. So, of course, we're going to learn from Abilene. I think everybody is about, the temporary construction, what it's done to housing prices, all of those things that they're facing.
And you said there were 1,000 proposed in Texas right now?
Oh, just about 1,000, yeah.
Okay. Are they concentrated in geographically and more in one area or another in terms of across the state?
Well, what developers look for is what's called powered land. So they want land that has a substation nearby or high-capacity transmission lines. So, and what people are doing is they're going out. I'm a development company. I'm ABC Data Center Development. I'm going to go get all the powered land I can. I'm going to go to the landowner and get an option. And then I'm going to go to the county and say, I want to put this data center. But at the same time, they're doing the exact same thing to 5 other counties, rural areas, anywhere they can find powered land. These developers, they actually come from the renewable sector, a lot of them. The majority are migrating over. And just like we see with wind and solar, they kind of sneak in and get through the process.
Right.
And then everyone has whiplash and doesn't know what happened. But what we're not doing in Texas, right, is protecting these smaller communities that aren't prepared for this, that we've got a commissioner who handles everything and a couple of clerks who've never seen anything. They need money.
Right.
What do? We just take it and let the chips fall where they may. A lot of these companies aren't ever going to come to fruition. We're not getting 1,000 data centers.
Right. So
Abbott has now pumped the brakes a little bit. That's election cycle BS, right? There's no teeth to that. So that's what, a 90-day pause kind of.
He has kind of migrated to the other side from where he started on data centers and protecting rural Texas, as he puts it.
The community benefit plan. You know what that is? It's called ESG, folks. It's just another acronym for watching out for what's going to impact our, No, it really is. It's the same.
I get it.
The same sentiment. So it's kind of funny to hear that.
Is there a list of, obviously, as an expert, is there a list of criteria you would suggest municipalities that have yet to pull the trigger on approving, whether it's a zoning issue or whatever it may be? We'll talk about that after the break. I want to ask you, at what point would you be comfortable with them in Lubbock, Texas? Coming up, more with Professor Kassandra McQuillen and her data center curriculum. Coming up after the break. Thanks for being here.
Wake Up Call with Benji Snead continues on 92.3 The Hub, the voice for freedom.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks for joining us. Happy Friday, everybody. 7:20 a.m., August 14th, 2026. Hope you have some fun weekend plans. Relax a little bit. It's going to be hot out there. It's 76 degrees right now outside the Raymar compound in downtown Lubbock. The sun has risen. And on our way to a hot 98 degrees today. Visiting with Professor Kassandra McQuillen, teaching a class on data centers this fall. Do we know... can I call you Professor? Do we know, Professor, are there other universities out there on the forefront of this issue, educating students? Do you know?
I haven't heard of any universities doing this. I just went to a conference in Seattle where it's a lot of law professors that teach about energy topics and resource topics. It takes a long time to get a new class approved. Okay, it takes a year or more. So even if a professor at a university is trying to propose something, they have to go through curriculum approval and development. The cool thing about my class is it's contemporary topics. So it's not called data centers, but word gets out, this is going to be data centers. We're going to go down this rabbit hole. And the kids sign up. So you build a little momentum. As far as tech goes, we have some very unique opportunities to grasp this space.
Oh, yeah.
I know we're looking at developing more at the graduate level, but I just jump right in because I got undergrads. I teach graduate students as well. But our undergrads, they're going to be dealing with this. And so we need to teach it, and it's fun. It's not just about data centers. It's about learning to think. Is this right? Is this wrong? We have ethics. We have business decision making.
Right.
We have due diligence. You can teach so much through this type of project, and they can go home and talk to their parents about it.
Right. Educate them.
And their parents will say, I can't believe tech is teaching this. This is so cool.
Yeah.
We're on the cutting edge. So if we develop this and it gets good feedback, we'll be doing it more and more. And hopefully tech will have me develop some more classes.
Right. Do you sincerely take the approach of objectivity?
I do. I think for years I worked in renewable energy development, always representing communities and landowners, never the corporate side. And I always I think I teach people what's responsible, what's right for you. You're the landowner, you're the rancher. Do you want wind? Why do you want wind? Let's look at succession planning. What does this mean for you and your family for the next 100 years? Not today with this option agreement. What does this mean, and what do you want to protect? What's your vision? So when I talk to people, a lot of people make assumptions about me. They don't know anything about me.
Not here.
But,
Rob Brennan?
I'm a veteran. I am from California.
Yeah.
I'm a mixed bag of things.
Sure.
And so I like people to make decisions on their own.
Yeah.
And so what I want to do is give these students the tools to figure out, whether it's a data center or anything, wherever they live in the future, how do I look at this objectively? Is this good for my community?
Right.
Let me ask the right questions.
Yes.
So
do you think we're asking the right questions as a because you're obviously a tax-paying resident of Lubbock as well, in terms of the political process? Do you think we're asking the right questions, and is Lubbock moving at a pace in terms of learning and or approving that would be acceptable to you?
I think Lubbock. I mean, I don't think we're getting a hyperscale data center in Lubbock. We'd have to annex some property,
right?
More than 7 acres or whatever everybody's all scared about right now. It's more a county issue. And then if you look at Lubbock, we're in 3 different energy silos there. You've got SPEC, you've got ERCOT, and then you've got Southwest Power Pool.
Right.
A data center's going to Southwest Power Pool. They're the only ones with extra electrons. Okay. So already we can tell where it would go, the north part of town, which everybody's upset about.
That was pointed out recently.
Yeah, by me to Tim Collins.
Okay.
Before he came on here. It was pretty funny.
Councilwoman Martinez Garcia pointed it out in the public hearing because she represents District 1. So,
but that's where they're going to get their electrons.
Okay.
But I think we could. I don't know that our community has the teeth to govern this. I think it's got to be state level. And so when we do something like, say, we're going to put on the ballot a moratorium, no, we're not. We're not going to do that. It's all just smoke and mirrors.
Right.
But I feel like the community is falling into the water narrative, which isn't the biggest narrative here.
It's evolved, it seems to me, as people get more educated. And the technology is rapidly improving as I've observed all of this. So I agree with that 100%. The water's not the issue. What is?
I think it's technology. I think if we jump into this and we let a hyperscale come into our community, in 5 years it's going to be obsolete. We're going to have another big empty warehouse. Okay, these companies, they're compelled to adapt and get more efficient GPUs because they have to pay for electricity. They have to pay for water. So they're not coming in the real deals that are actually going to get built and be hyperscale. They're going to get those computers down so small and so efficient, or figure some way to make them so they don't consume so much. It costs them money. Whenever you have a product, you want to limit the material cost.
Yeah.
The material cost there is the water and the power. So if we jump in and we let in, a huge data center, in 5 years when the GPUs have shrunk in size and are more efficient, they aren't going to have as big a footprint.
Right. Visiting with Professor Kassandra McQuillen this morning. She is teaching, at least for Texas Tech, a first ever curriculum and course for data centers, taking an objective approach there. Speaking of objectivity, these data centers can bring millions, perhaps billions in investment dollars. But relatively few permanent jobs. How should communities measure whether the trade-off is worthwhile?
Well, we need to figure out how we're doing our tax revenue. So a lot of the abatements we're seeing are for the GPUs. Okay, so when we think about property tax or a tax a business is going to bring in, you've got your land tax, your improvement tax, and then your personal property tax. So every one of those little computers that's worth $20,000 each, and they have 100,000 of them, is personal property. The abatements these companies are seeking are 3 to 5 year abatements on the personal property. That's their big capital investment.
Right.
That's where the billions you're hearing about are the little computers. So if we give them an abatement for 3 to 5 years, what's the usable life of a GPU? 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
So what's happened, if we look at what happened in wind, okay, look out in Lynn County, Tahoka. You got 4 wind projects that came in. They got a 10-year abatement on improvement tax. We need this to build the components. What happened in 10 years?
Gone.
No, they asked to repower. They said, we're going to repower, and we need another 10-year abatement. Okay?
Right.
So Lynn County didn't get those taxes because they're held over the barrel, right?
Sure.
If you don't do this, we're not going to repower and we're just going to abandon our site.
Do you think they should be getting abatements when they're the ones beating the door down?
No, but
I kind of set you up for that one.
No, but we underestimate the power we have as powered land in rural communities that's willing to take these things.
Okay.
If our leadership would say, you know what, I'm going to get a bigger pair of cojones here, and I'm not going to give you that big of an abatement. I'll give you a small abatement, but you're going to come in, and I got to deal with all my community opposed to this. Make it worth our while.
Right.
And also, we're never renewing an abatement. Okay? I don't want to renew an abatement. You get it one time to set up, and then by your own model, you should be profitable. So
in your opinion, what set of circumstances, criteria, scenario would make it worth a community like Lubbock's while?
I'm not sure. I think Lubbock is growing too fast and irresponsibly. So I feel like we should pump the brakes on a few things. And what do people like about Lubbock? Do we want to be a big city, or do we want to stay who we are? So it's interesting to watch. It's been a question
for a lot of years, yeah.
Yeah, it's been interesting as kind of an outsider to watch this and go, wait, don't these people want to be the biggest small town? But we're about to lose that. And we look at the crime. We have so many problems we need to solve here before we bring in something new. Okay,
well, we'll talk about them coming up after the break. 7:29 a.m., we'll continue the conversation with Professor Kassandra McQuillen, teaching courses on data centers at Texas Tech. We'll be back.
Wake Up Call with Benji Snead continues on 92.3 The Hub, the voice for freedom.
Welcome back to the program, 7:36 a.m. Happy Friday, everybody. Text and phone lines are open, 806-771-0923. It's going to be a hot Friday out there, everybody, 98 degrees. We're having a thoughtful conversation with Professor Kassandra McQuillen. She's teaching a first ever course on data centers through the Rawls. It's through Rawls, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So let's go to the phone lines. I think we've got somebody on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Benji. It's Randy.
Randy.
Good morning to the professor too. I had to call. I was not going to call this morning because it's such a great conversation, but she kind of took me back on her last comment about the growth of Lubbock, and we're growing too fast, and I am completely with her on that. But how do you control it? How do you decide? It's all about the money. Somebody's going to bring some money, and they want to build something here, and it's going to make money, and it's going to make revenue for the city, for us to fill potholes and stuff like that. But you have to decide. I think as a city, we're going to have to get to a point that we have to decide, what do we want to be, almost like what you said.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty tough haul of getting everybody on that page. He goes, okay, let's slow down a little bit, guys. And so I just wanted your thoughts and comments of, as we move forward, how do we go about deciding what do we really want Lubbock to be? And I'll hang up, guys, and have a good day and enjoy the conversation. Take care.
Thanks for the call, Randy. Professor, I think the question was, how do we control that?
I mean, that's the $1 million question, right? I mean, we have to, I don't know how we control that, really. But we really need to look at our demographic right now and what is actually growing. If people are moving here, where are they working? What are they just moving here because it's cheaper than somewhere else? And in 5 years, are we going to realize people need jobs? What is the plan? And then what are we doing with our older neighborhoods? Why aren't we kind of rejuvenating things and doing stuff like that? So I don't know the answer. I think that's a question every community faces. But when you have kind of, maybe LEDA needs to look at that. Maybe the city council and LEDA need to get together and say, wait a minute, what do we really want here? And then looking at our resources, what can we do to balance that? But I'm not really into city politics or anything like that. So I'm not actually informed enough to give a good answer. I just feel like I see a lot in Lubbock going on that doesn't make sense.
Right. Well, as you've prepared for to teach this class, and by the way, I think it's brilliant what you're doing there, because part of what at least what I see just as an observer, we have a lot of folks come in and out of here with lots of different opinions, is this lack of knowledge and education, and we're still forming opinions around misinformation. So the education on it is the same. But in your preparation for this class, I know you probably know a lot more this time next semester, going into this for the first time. But what do you think the misperceptions are out there? And is it about resources or is it about Big Brother fear?
Well, that's a good question. I do think there is a lot of Big Brother fear. People don't know what AI is. They don't understand it. They think it's surveilling them. Guess what? You're surveilled, right?
I mean, it's that ship sailed, right?
Yeah, you got a phone in your pocket, you're surveilled. You know, so, and these are emotional triggers, right? So, I don't know what the big issue for me right now in Texas would probably be like power generation. How are we going to build our grid out to support this, and at what cost?
Seems to me that's become paramount to water.
Yeah, definitely, because we are a capacity market for ERCOT, most of Texas. Right. We like to operate on scarcity. That's where companies make their money, right? I like to teach my students about the power grid. I tell them it's like Ticketmaster, how you get your electron. You got to pay all these fees, right? You think you're getting your ticket for $200, but it comes out to $436. And you're like, what is this fee and that fee? That's our power grid because we're deregulated. We're the only deregulated market, in the nation. Right. And in my opinion, it's not good for consumers.
Did I hear you say earlier you think we should that it should be the state's responsibility to set the guidelines?
Yes. I do think it should be the state, especially a state like Texas, where, again, we have all these counties with minimal staffing, minimal knowledge base, some people sitting out in a dying community, farming community, that are just grasping at things. They might be confused emotionally with what's needed for the community versus with that balance. A lot of states are taking action on data centers, and they're taking deliberate, thoughtful action. Okay. Right. I mentioned I just went to this conference and we talked about all the new regulations and ordinances and things going on. I know it sounds exciting, but where communities are trying to regulate these things. And there's several ways to do that. So I feel like Texas needs to do that. Of course, Texas, our governor wants money, right, for himself and then for the state, probably in that order. And so, and because of that, our leadership is easily wooed by these trust me bro guys with like Bitcoin, now data centers, anything that comes in. I call it the trust me bro state. Trust me bro, I'm going to make you money. And to the detriment of your citizens and your landowners and things like that. Wow. So I feel like we need to just have some clear direction across the board. I don't think our communities are equipped to deal with when something this big comes in.
Clearly.
So if we can't, unless we make a template for communities to follow, but it's best to just do it at the state level, right?
Is it realistic to expect, I'll call them large-scale data centers, which I think the whole nomenclature is way off because of all the assumptions you can make by using terms like data centers.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different issue. But is it realistic to expect the large-scale data centers to provide their own generation?
I mean, that is one way, but that also, when we look at that, we need to look at that indirect water use for that too. And the indirect, I know nobody cares right now, but we'll swing back around where we care about emissions and pollution. So if we bring in a hyperscale data center, like up in Amarillo, Fermi, they've got a bunch of Siemens natural gas generators sitting at a dock that are going to come up. They've got the clean air permit. Well, the EPA has been gutted. And so they're issuing clean air permits. So they can, I think they got up to 6 gigawatts of natural gas generation they can put in up there. Now, there is a lot of pollution that comes out of that. So we're building...
What kind of pollution?
Well, the emissions, right? Like you're getting a lot of the, famed pollutants out there that would be governed.
Got it.
That's why people wanted carbon capture next to these, all this silliness we go back and forth. But we need to look at that too. No, that's how I feel.
No, I find it. I'm laughing. I'm laughing for a different reason, but yeah, I agree.
But like, if we allow a hyperscale data center near Lubbock,
Right.
we're going to end up gigawatts of power. Okay.
Sure.
The entire Lubbock community uses about half a gig a day. Okay. Everything in the area.
Okay.
You're talking up there. I think there's 17 gigs is what they're proposing at the Fermi site outside of Amarillo.
Okay. Hang on. Now you said Lubbock uses half a gig a day, and they're proposing 17. I want to make sure people heard that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
So that's hyperscale. Okay, not 27 megawatts. Okay, that's Lubbock ISD.
I would
uses
think
that.
so. Yeah.
So when we look at these things on a gigawatt scale, I think it's something like 70 times the power usage of the entire state of Texas is in the queue right now for data centers.
Okay.
Like they're looking at, and we don't have that much power generation. Where's it going to come from? Natural gas generators, the backlog to buy one is 5 to 7 years. Okay. We don't like solar and we don't like wind. So that's the quickest thing to build. But politically, we don't like these things. Then people talk about nuclear.
Right.
Nuclear takes 10 years, folks. 10 years.
Wow.
So where are the little electrons coming from?
It kind of gives new meaning to the term low-hanging fruit in terms of what we're after. Fascinating discussion. We're going to talk about what, based on your curriculum at Tech, what questions should citizens be asking coming up after the break. Visiting with Professor Kassandra McQuillen, teaching a new class at Texas Tech on data centers, and we're getting our own education this morning, so stay with us.
Wake Up Call with Benji Snead continues on 92.3 The Hub, the voice for freedom.
Welcome back to the program. 10 minutes till 8 a.m. Thanks for listening this morning. If you're just joining us, you'll want to stick around. We've been having a thoughtful, very intriguing conversation with Professor Kassandra McQuillen, who is teaching that we know of, at least at Texas Tech, the first ever curriculum class course on data centers. Very timely, appropriate. And I think that's part of the problem is we have a segment of folks, and you're the one who said this was a bipartisan issue, and there's data to support that. It's split down the middle, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, whether you're for or against them. But I do think that's part of the problem is the lack of education when people are forming uninformed opinions. So when's the semester over? December?
First week December.
What do you want your students, after taking this first ever class, walk away with at the very least?
Well, I'm trying to teach them to think for themselves. So it's not about a data center. It's not about any particular project. I'm just using the vehicle of the data center to teach them how to find facts, how to find who they're dealing with in any type of business situation. Okay. Yeah. And it's just contemporary and people are interested. And that's when students, like I said before, if they can connect with the content, it's not some abstract thing that happened in 1998 to Nike. It's something happening to us. Many of them are West Texas kids. So in their community, and it's huge here. So to teach them not about the politics of it, but how to look at it, how to look at any business problem. That's all the data centers are. It's a business problem.
Interesting. And it is sometimes just deciphering whether you're dealing with the political end of it or the business end of it. Sometimes they get intertwined. What resources are out there that are objective enough that you can draw from to learn more about it?
I haven't found any resources, really. What we're going to do is do case studies. We're going to look at communities that have these data centers.
Okay.
And we're going to look at where they're proposed. So I know a lot of professors rely on a textbook. I am not a textbook teacher. Okay. I despise a textbook. I like real life, and I like things that touch the students in terms of in their lives, they're thinking about this, or they've heard a snippet about it. So that's kind of how I always teach my classes. And if you look at my reviews or whatever online, it's always like, I love the stories. I love learning about.
I was going to say, you're probably going to learn right alongside your students as you go through some of these case studies.
Yes. And I'm open with my students. Hey, nobody knows what we're doing. We're going to figure it out.
And it's the definition of novel.
Yeah, I'm crowdsourcing with them. I will put them on task to go research this for me. Tell me what's going on in Idaho with their data centers. They've got an interesting mandate. Okay, that'll be our thing.
Talk about that.
So in Idaho,
yeah,
they're doing strict water restrictions. So you can't use your groundwater. You can only use municipal water if you want to have a data center. That's a huge hurdle for someone to jump. So they're creatively banning data centers by saying no drilling, no wells. You got to get permission from the municipality to get the water. And they know the municipality is going to say no.
Are you suggesting they're not quite concerned about the water as much as it may appear?
Well, no, I'm suggesting that by saying you can't bring your own water, you have to buy it from a municipality, I've just tied your hands.
And made some money along the way.
So, yeah. So some states are getting very creative with it. A lot of Arizona is big on disclosures. We want 100% clear disclosures on your energy and water use.
Yeah. Given your explanation, I guess by definition of it being brand new, this question may be a little unfair. I don't know. Fair to say, AI demand isn't going to decrease.
That is very fair to say.
Okay. So given that, and assuming it's going to grow, even more exponentially, do you think the current model of building, in terms of the physical facility, even larger data centers is sustainable?
Is it sustainable? I don't know that it's necessary. I guess it's sustainable if the businesses want to pour money into this. And then what they're going to do is just monetize the heck out of, once we've all gotten addicted to ChatGPT and all that,
yeah,
they're going to monetize the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're creating people who, I go on my phone and look something up. AI answers the question. I don't want AI to answer the question. Give me the source is how I operate. But so many of us are getting trained to just read that initial blob that says, hey, this is the basics. And we're relying on that.
Yeah, good point.
And so the more reliant and more stupid we become by relying on that, we're not thinking, right? We're just getting a summary. Our lives will be summaries. We'll get so trained to that and we'll be addicted to it.
And in some cases, speaking from experience, it tries to tell you what your opinion is.
Yes. I have a cousin who argues with AI. I don't know what's wrong with him. Recently divorced, maybe that's it. He tells me about these arguments he has with AI, and I'm like...
I have a business partner that does the same thing.
Yeah.
He said, I told him yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, you told who? He said, I told him, we're not friends. Don't ever think that we are. Don't brag on me and don't tell me I did a good job. Just give me the information I'm after. It's interesting because that you say cite your sources. I played around with it, and I learned, because this AI, we're kind of going down a rabbit hole here, but is my experience it's right if you double check it about 85% of the time. So when are we going to get caught up in that 15% and publish something that they told us was true and it's not? So I agree, caution there. Does it seem? I'm having a thought about. It seemed like when computers first came out, technology started to evolve exponentially. Things started out real big and then got smaller, and then we got microchips. It seems like it's going the other direction now.
Well, they're just fast and furious. Right now, AI is kind of in the stage where it's just sucking everything in, right? Give me all the texts, give me all the history, give me everything. Once it's all in there, it's not going to need as much, right? And then what we're going to do is it's probably going to become a software market. So you have a radio program. Mm-hmm. That's not a good example. I have a law firm, we'll say, and I just do energy stuff.
Much more credible.
Well, yours is too broad.
I get it.
So let's say I just do energy stuff, ground leases and stuff like that. I only want all the AI that applies to my realm for my business. So to do that, I don't need the huge hyperscale data center. I just need one shipping container's worth.
Right.
So I'm going to get software that divides that up. So we're going to get these big AI processing units right now because they're sucking in the libraries of the world. But once they're all in there, they're not processing it at the same time. It's already in there and stored, right?
Right.
So you have different kinds of GPUs. Some that just store stuff on your computer, and then some that do the processes to think. The thinking, I think, will get to a smaller scale. Oh, you own an auto shop? You need AI for diesel engines? That's a small sector. You see what I'm saying?
Fascinating.
So,
yeah.
So maybe it becomes a software issue more.
Yeah, and we're seeing that. That's a really good way to explain that, because we are seeing things that are specific to a segment. You know, like there's AI for radio stations that will write your programs for you.
Yeah, probably ads. They'll write your ads for you.
Write your ads, write your promos, I love it how when AI started becoming popular, how all of a sudden everybody became better writers. 7:59 a.m. Thoughtful conversation with Professor Kassandra McQuillen, teaching a curriculum now starting this fall on data centers at Texas Tech through the Rawls College of Business. Question or comment for the professor this morning, 806-771-0923. We'll be back.
Wake Up Call with Benji Snead continues on 92.3 The Hub, the voice for freedom.
Good morning, Lubbock and West Texas. Welcome back to the program this morning. If you're just joining us, welcome to the program. 8:06 a.m. You're listening to the Wake Up Call. Benji Snead here, along with our producer, Brennan Rocker. And a special guest in the studio today, Professor Kassandra McQuillen. Thoughtful, perhaps borderline provocative conversation this morning about data centers. Maybe it's the conversations we have in the breaks that are a little more provocative about it, but not short of fascinating, some of the things going on out there. And it seems to me, Professor, you're kind of on the forefront of learning about that stuff, and now you want to pass it along to students in a curriculum. For those just tuning in, give us a quick overview of this first ever class you're going to be teaching on data centers.
This class is just going to teach students how to vet data center, large load projects. So someone who's wanting 50 megawatts or more from the power grid, what does it mean for your community? What does it mean for the environment, to the power grid, water resources, all of those things. And then also how to vet who we're dealing with, because this is a new space. We have a lot of prospectors out there. So how do we look up a corporation? When was it formed? Who was it formed by? What's their history? Let's look at who we're dealing with. So just teaching students about business decisions through this vehicle of a data center.
Yeah. And how does because it's brand new, so you're kind of breaking new ground here. What systems, as a professor, and processes do you have in place to check that you remain objective about it?
Well, I mean, I'm going to ask the students to do the work and give me their opinions, and then see if it's an informed opinion. It's pretty simple, right? I can fact them. I'm making them fact check themselves.
Right.
And I've contemplated, I'm going to let them use AI on some projects and not on others.
Interesting. Because
we're talking data centers, I want to see what they, I'll let them produce some slop, and then I'll make them go back and correct it.
Okay.
So,
speaking of AI, which is different from data centers, I know there's a correlation there, but what do you use AI in your everyday life, and how do you use it, and how do you suggest other people use it?
I'm not really well versed in AI. Okay. I have used it. Like if I want to make a PowerPoint on a subject, I'll ask AI to create it, and then it's absolute crap. I spend more time fixing it to what I need. So I don't really rely on it for cursory searches. Obviously, Google defaults to it now, and other things do. But I always kind of go below the line there, and it
feels like they're kind of forcing it on us.
Yeah, and I kind of enjoy thinking. So I haven't embraced it. I know I should, but I'm trying to figure out where it fits into my world as an educator.
Right.
And then as a lawyer, as attorneys, there's a lot of people getting in trouble for using AI, getting disbarred, getting sanctioned. So that's a tricky area too.
Do you think we will eventually reach a point where the societal value of an AI application has to be weighed against energy and water required to run it?
I mean, we could ask that question of any industry.
Fair enough.
So
I'm asking about this one.
I don't think so. I mean, I think like other industry, it's a hot button right now. Once we get used to it.
Well, and you made the point, which I 100% agree. I don't think it's about maybe electricity. I think that's valid, but I don't think it's about water anymore because the technology's there. You don't have to do that.
Well, the main water use is going to come from the energy generation. So like natural gas power plants and nuclear power plants use more water than the data center will.
Yeah.
So if we're going to target it, let's talk about where our electrons are coming from and the water use there. So cooling is improving, closed loop systems, air cooling, all of that. But how are we generating those electrons? It's going to be natural gas. It's going to be combustion, which takes a lot of water to cool.
Yeah.
And then we have to frack, which really takes a lot of water, and it's not reusable at all, to power those natural gas generators. So if we look not at the direct water use of the data center, but the indirect, what's powering that?
Yeah.
That's where the major water use comes from.
Interesting. You're basically inventing this curriculum, and I could see it being used as a model at other universities. But because it is new, what do you expect, and what are your expectations for what you want to learn at the end of this semester?
Well, I'm trying to kind of change the way I teach with the times, right? Students now, for example, my B-Law class. I've got a publisher. All the B-Law teach business law is what B-Law is. Every business student must take Business Law 1. So we all use the same textbook. It asks the same questions. The students can go online. In fact, ironically, they can use agent mode on ChatGPT, where they just have their assistant complete their whole textbook for the semester.
Right.
You're not learning, right? So I'm trying to figure out ways to teach our students how to think, how to actually make a business decision, how to get the facts. So in any of my classes, not just the data center, my goal is to get them to use their brain, not try to game the system like they do all over the other classes with these online books and all the answers out there. I want to give original assignments and original content because that's the only way to engage these students.
Seems to me the natural progression of what we may learn from a whole group of students doing their own research on data centers might actually be a byproduct to the real value.
Yes, I think we're going to learn a lot about students, and then engagement, right? Just having them talk in class, like I mentioned on a break. They're going to walk into the classroom and they're going to be in group A or B. They're going to be pro or con for the day. I don't care what their political or personal opinions are. If you're against something, you're going to have to argue for it. I want to teach them how to look at everything. And I think data centers, because it's so contemporary, it's
perfect
so
guys
heated.
for teaching responsibility.
Yeah. So while it's novel to teach about data centers,
Right.
I'm just using it to teach the concepts that we need to teach. And in 20 years, it won't be data centers. It'll be, AI robot people.
Yeah.
The method that I'm using should be a timeless method. It's just a contemporary topic.
Well, that is far from what I thought I was going to learn about your class today, but makes perfect sense in terms of what you're trying to accomplish because almost by definition, AI has trained us not to have to think, and now you're going to get back to basics on it. Using data centers as the vehicle. Is that irony, Brennan? I don't know. If you were advising Texas Tech students who will enter the workforce alongside this massive expansion of AI infrastructure, what would you want us to understand that we probably aren't hearing enough about?
I mean, I think energy generation. Like, I think people don't think about their electrons. And I don't even know the answer to this, but how much I want to find this by the end of the term. Every time I search with AI, how many watts am I using? I want to figure out some way to build a calculator for the students. So when I teach about electricity, I often have the students track their electricity use, look at their power bills, and try to find the source of their electrons, just to understand the power grid. I kind of want to do that with AI. If you're using AI, how many kilowatt hours are you using when you do that? Is it as much as your microwave? Is it as much as, what are we using here for power? So we can get the real answer. So an individual can say, well, because, we used to do like carbon footprints and footprints. What's my electron footprint when I use AI.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we could do a cost projection. Okay, it's not profitable right now, AI, but it will be because they're going to monetize the crap out of it in the future. So if I know that every time I search on my phone and Google puts me in AI mode, it's going to cost me $2, I might not do it, right? And where's that tied to the electricity and stuff? So I want students also to understand when they become dependent on something,
There's a cost.
they create a market for that thing.
It's costing somebody something, whether it's directly to you right now or not, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fascinating. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you'll come back. I want to check in with you. May even sit in on your class and try to learn something as well if you're agreeable to that.
Yeah.
Professor Kassandra McQuillen here educating us on what she hopes to educate our future workforce about, teaching a class on data centers out at Texas Tech. Yeah, fascinating. Maybe we'll have you on once a month and see how this thing evolves. We'll be back after this on the Wake Up Call 92.3 The Hub. Stay with us.